Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock on a Monday, which means it's time for a 5x5. This is one of my favourite videos of the week. The idea is very, very simple. I take 5 topics, all related to Magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each topic. There is a countdown timer at the bottom. The countdown counts down to 0. When it reaches 0, I move on to the next topic. It's quick, it's snappy, and you never know what you're going to get. Quite an eclectic range of stuff that we've got going on this week. And we're going to be doing a review of a brand new deck. I'm going to be reviewing one of the best comedy props you've ever seen, and you're going to see some live performance footage of a really random thing that happened to me at a gig very, very recently. In fact, we're going to start off the first segment by talking about this live performance footage. So let's start with the first 5x5 segment. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to talk to you about something that happened to me at a live gig this weekend just gone. So I'm filming this on the Tuesday. This happened to me on the Saturday. And I was booked to perform at a garden party. It was a 26th birthday party. And these guys had seen me a couple of times before. And they asked me to do maybe an hour and 15, an hour and 30 minutes of close-up magic just outside in the garden. And then at the end, sort of a half an hour. I build it as a cabaret show, but it's kind of half parlor show, half cabaret show, half close up to kind of a big group of people. If it was kind of more Covent Garden style magic than anything else, because I was just kind of sitting in the garden or standing in the garden, and everybody else was standing around me. So it was kind of a stage thing. There were about 30 or 40 people looking and watching, but it wasn't, like a formal cabaret show or anything like that. But a lot of the time I actually do that when I'm doing sort of garden parties or private parties. I'll say, hey, I'll do close-up magic first of all for the first 90 minutes, and then we'll do sort of half an hour to the whole group at the end to give people the wow factor. Gives me a chance to do bigger stuff. And as I say, they'd seen me before, and when I arrived at this gig, the guy said, hey, can you help me? I was like, yeah, what's up? And he said, look, just to let you know, nobody else knows other than me and my wife, but she's pregnant. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And he pulled out a scan. And he said, look, we just got this morning. We want to tell all of our friends and family today because they're all here. Could you do it in a magical way? And I said, wow, that's a big responsibility. But man, if you give me a little time to think about it, I could come up with something. But, on the spur of the moment, I wouldn't want it to come across as cheesy. And he's like, yeah, totally understand. No problem. Do you think? So I spent about an hour doing close-up magic, and the reactions were off the wall. Everyone was loving it. And he took me to one side and he said, look, can I please, I don't care if it's cheesy. Everybody loves you. This is going brilliantly. Please, can you think of something out? And I was like, okay, look, just give me 10 minutes. And I'll see if I can come up with something. And if I can, we'll do it to close the cabaret show. Because if I can think of something, we're not going to be able to do anything after that. This is going to be kind of the closing bit. And he's like, okay, no problem. I'm like, right, give me 10 minutes. So I kind of locked myself in a room out the way. He gave me a little room and I was sitting there thinking about it. And there's an immense amount of pressure because this is like a big deal. And ironically, this is a question I actually addressed on the Q&A a couple of weeks ago. And somebody said, what would you do? What magic would you do if you had to announce a pregnancy? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'd do something with digital force bag. Well, my mind immediately went to digital force bag. And I came up with this presentation because I didn't want it to be cheesy. And I also didn't want to just have like a revelation, like, hey, pick a card, and on the back of the card is the scan, or I didn't want to have like a whole bunch of blank cards and they pick one that says, hey, you're pregnant. I wanted it to play bigger because I wanted it to be a part of the cabaret show, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be cheesy. So, in the next 5-minute segments, I'm going to actually roll you the live performance footage because I said, please can we record this because, I'll send you the video, but I'd love to get this recorded for social media and so on. And he was like, yeah, absolutely fine, no problem. It's probably, I think the footage is slightly longer than 5 minutes. I'm going to run it, even though we only normally do 5-minute segments on this, on these videos. I'm going to run it the entire length of the video just because I want you guys to see what happened, because the way that I structured it, I used digital force bag, and I kind of had 4 people come up on stage. I gave somebody a prediction, and I had 3 other people come up. And you'll notice when I'm doing digital force bag, I use 3. I've got the professional version of digital force bag, so I can make as many lists as I want to. And you'll notice that I had 3 lists: male names, female names, and life events. And you'll notice that there's only 10 options in each list and not 100 that you normally get with the digital force bag. And the reason for that is I literally had like 10 minutes to put this together. I was still having to do close-up magic. I didn't have time to create 300 different options in lists. That would have taken forever. I had to do the cabaret show. I just didn't have time. So when I had the idea for doing what I was going to do, I created 3 lists, and I thought, well, the minimum amount that I can have to make it still impressive is 10 names in each list. So that's what I did. I put it all together. Luckily, it went absolutely amazing. I'm going to roll the footage for you now. But I think the thing to learn from this is always be thinking. Always be thinking. You never know what a client is going to ask you to do. And if you're stuck in your ways and you've got the same, yeah, I could have turned around and said, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm sure the guy would have accepted it. But off the back of this performance, I've already had 3 people contact me for other events. And I think that's partly because of what I did because of his request. So you have a look at the performance. It's coming up now. And yeah, you let me know what you think.
There's one final trick, because I do a lot of comedy magic. That's my thing, comedy magic. But for the final trick, I'm going to do some serious mind reading. I know. And I'm going to need a few people to come up on stage. So you shift. You're not helping with this stuff. I need somebody to hold on to the prediction for me, and that's going to be you. So do you want to come up and hold on to the prediction? Come on. Face the front, smile. Very good. Now, first of all, this is called the envelope of mystery. That's why a question mark's on there, because it is the envelope of mystery. Ooh. Now, I can't just do this with anybody. I need to make sure that psychically you and I are in touch. So I have written a word on the other side of this envelope. It could be any word in the English language. Be honest, tell the truth, don't lie. Do you have any idea what this word is?
Not a clue.
So do you know what the word is?
No.
Correct, well done. I thought we weren't going to get there for a second, but you got it, that's good. So what I want you to do, there is a prediction inside this envelope. You hold that there, that is your job and your job only. Now, we're going to read the minds of 3 people. We're going to have 3 people make completely free choices the entire time. And hopefully this prediction is going to match. And if it does, that's going to be the finale of the show, and you guys are going to go crazy. So we need 3 people to help. I'm going to trust you. Okay? Come on up, give your drink to somebody.
Trust her.
I have my phone on me. Okay, now on my phone, come and stand over here, very good. On my phone, I have my notes page. Now, I should point out to you that I have thousands of notes, but there's 3 notes in particular that we're going to be talking about here. There's a note, and it's about life events. There's 10 different life events on that note. Marriage, getting your first car, going out on your first date, that sort of thing. There's 10 different life events. Okay. We also have a list of 10 different random boys' names and 10 different random girls' names. So we're going to start with you. You are going to be life event lady. So you are going to pick one of the life events at random, and it is going to be completely at random. You get a free choice. There's 10 life events to pick from. Which number would you like? 1 to 10? Grab some. Would you like to change your mind?
No.
You want number 7. Are you sure? Okay, so let me show you. That's the notes right there. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I don't want you to tell anyone just yet, but do you see? There should be somewhere about life events. There it is, life events. Do you see it at the top there? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to just open it for a second, and you can have a look at number 7.
Yep.
Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Now, just to confirm to everybody, they are all different. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
It's not like it's the same life event each point. Mm-hmm. It is completely different. If you thought of a different number, you would have got a completely different life event. Would you agree?
Agree.
Fantastic. We're just going to close that down right now and come out of that note. Is that fair? Yep. You hold on to that. Don't tell anyone that. That is your unique choice of a life event. Now, we have boys' names. Will you help me with this?
Yeah.
Very good, thanks, because you bring the excitement. Now,
Go, Daddy! Yes, Daddy!
hang on. Go on, Danny!
Yeah, Daddy!
Right, Danny.
Go on, Daddy!
Danny, you get a choice of a boy's name. There are 10 different names on this list. You get to pick any one that you want to. Give me a number from 1 to 10, including 1. 10. Are you sure? Do you want to change your mind? You do want to change your mind? Thanks for helping. Do you want to go back to 10 or do you want to stick at 1? We could do this all night.
1.
1. Final answer?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to open up this. You can see right there men's names. You can see that. You can actually see who's at number 1, but I'll open it up just so you can see that they're all different. Yeah?
Okay.
Can you please make sure that you don't tell anyone that, but they are all different, right? If you had 10, you would have got John, but you didn't get John. You got number 1. So you remember that, okay?
Yeah.
And then finally, we need one more person to help. Can you help me? Would that be okay? Very good. Come on up. What's your name again?
Georgia.
Of course it is. Georgia, stand right there. Everyone give Georgia a big round of applause. Georgia, your choice right now is on the girls' names. Your choice is on the girls' names. So again, we have a list of 10 girls' names. You get to completely randomly pick one. Give me a number from 1 to 10.
3.
Now, do you want to be as annoying as your sister and change your mind again, or would you like to stick with 3?
I'm not as annoying as my sister, so I'm going to stick with 3.
Okay, I know what's going to happen later on when you're talking about this. You're going to be like, oh my God, what would have happened if I changed my mind? You sure you want 3?
Let's go with 3.
Let's go with 3. Sure?
3.
Don't influence her. Right, okay. 3. Yes?
You're boring. Let's stay with our levels. Come on now.
Number 3, yeah?
Yeah.
So, you can see right there, we've got girls' names, yeah?
Yeah.
And if I open up the girls' names, can you see number 3?
I can see number 3.
Okay, and you can see that they're all different. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
It's not like it's the same name every single time.
Yeah.
They're all completely different, but we have number 3 right there, yes?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, we have a situation where you had a completely free choice, you thought of a life event. You had a completely free choice, you thought of a girl's name. You had a completely free, a boy's name, sorry. You had a completely free choice, you thought of a girl's name. No one could have known this, and I made a prediction from the very beginning, a prediction that's been here from the very beginning. Now, let me ask you a question. What was the free choice of name that you had?
Abby.
Abby. Oh, wow. Well, that's a coincidence. You had Abby, seriously. And they were all different on the list,
I had
right?
Abby. I had Abby.
You had Abby.
Yeah.
And you had a free choice of boy's name. What did you end up with?
Luke.
Holy
No way.
We got Abby. That is crazy. And you had a free choice of life events, and they're all different. Getting a job, getting a new car. Absolutely everything was different. What was your choice? Guys, if you have a look here, inside here, I think you'll find that my prediction was a stamp from earlier on today. So let's give.
Mate, I don't know how you've done that. Mate, that is unreal. Mate, I don't know how you've done that.
Right, okay, so it's time for a review now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be reviewing, in my opinion, the best comedy prop you will ever find. If you're a comedy magician, this is worth its weight in gold. I am, of course, talking about the Prop Dog Hammer. The Prop Dog Hammer. If you don't know what these are, this is the most realistic looking hammer I have ever seen. This is a fake hammer. It is not real. It does not hurt. It's completely fake. You also get another hammer with it. You get a real hammer that looks identical. And these are available exclusively from Prop Dog. Dave Bonsall and his team make these, and they are absolutely incredible. I've used these in my show for about 2 or 3 years. You know, people have used these sponge bricks from time to time. I've seen performers use sponge bricks, and sponge bricks are bricks are great, but a lot of them look really fake. The thing that you find with Prop Dog is when they produce something, it's either go big or go home, if you know what I mean. They either kind of go for it 100% or they don't bother. And this is so amazing quality. Like, I've used this so much. So I have a TikTok channel for Magic TV. We don't really promote it on the YouTube channel, but I do. It's not massive. There's about 60,000 followers or something like that. But the best video we ever did was with this hammer. It was very early on. I think it's had like something like 2 or 3 million views, where I was just in my office and I threw this across the room to Matt, and who didn't realise it was going to be flying at his face. And it's a funny video. But when I did that, Matt was genuinely convinced that this was a real hammer. And if you gave it to someone other than the weight, they would think it's a real hammer, and it's not. Now, you can use this in your show in so many different ways. You know, you can throw it out into the audience. In fact, I'll tell you something. This is my second hammer. And the reason this is my second hammer is because when I first started doing this, when I first bought the hammer, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I remember it was around about Christmas time, a few years ago now. And I was on the way to an illusion show with Nemid Phoenix and Kat Stanley. Kat's the assistant in my show. And we were doing this full illusion show for a corporate Christmas party. And I did this thing where I threw this hammer out, and I did it for the first time in a show. And this guy just like, he gave out the girliest scream you've ever heard. Everybody laughed. And then he took this hammer and he ripped it to bits, like literally ripped it to bits. And I'm like, man, I just bought that. And I couldn't turn around to him and say, hey, you owe me this rubber hammer now. I was really annoyed. I was like really annoyed. So my advice would be, and then I had to get another rubber hammer, which I've been using ever since. And this one has never let me down because I kind of realized how to present this. You don't want to just kind of go into the, hey, I need somebody from the audience, let's use this, boom. There's ways to actually use it and ways not to use it to make sure that doesn't happen. But this is a really funny prop. It really is. If you use it as a way to get a volunteer up, ladies and gentlemen, we want to have a volunteer come up on stage now. It needs to be somebody completely random. Now, you've probably seen mentalists like Darren Brown, and they'll take a paper ball and throw it out in the audience. And that way you know that the person coming up isn't in on it. I don't have any paper balls, but I have got a similar sort of thing. And then you bring this out, it's an instant laugh. But then when you throw it out into the audience, it kind of gets that shock thing. And the reason you've got two hammers is because you can, if you've got your case there, you can have this hammer, you can hit it as if, to show it's a real hammer. And then you can come back to the case, switch it, and then come back out. People will think it's the same hammer. So when you throw it, they're convinced that it's a real hammer. There's lots of lines. My favorite line with a hammer was from Scott Alexander. And I love this line, it's absolutely brilliant. When he goes to give an audience member the hammer, he goes, hey, here you go. And they go to grab it and you go, can't touch this. Which, I don't know, that's just my sense of humour. I absolutely love that line. But this isn't about lines or how to use the hammer, this is a review. So to sum up, if you want a rubber hammer for your show, these are the best quality rubber hammers that you can get. I'm going to give this 100%. I absolutely love this. It fits inside your case. It's hard wearing. Unless you throw it as a drunk person at a corporate audience who's going to rip it up into bits, it will last you a lifetime, and it is really well made. Now, you can only get them from Prop Dog. Prop Dog don't distribute them to any of the magic stores because I don't think the margin's there, to be honest, because it costs them a lot to make these. So if you do want to do it, you do want to get one, go to PropDog, propdog.co.uk. They ship worldwide, but I would highly recommend this. Way over a sponge brick or any other type of device. These, for a comedy magician, are worth their weight in gold. So this week on Magic TV, we're going to be dropping an interview with Magical Bones. Now, if you don't know who Magical Bones is, a lot of you might know him from Britain's Got Talent, where he went through to the final of Britain's Got Talent. He's also been in the Impossible show on the West End for 3 years. He's a magician, he's a breaker, a break dancer, a b-boy. He does so much stuff and is smashing it right now. His style is awesome, it really is. So I got a chance to sit down and chat with him, and we talked all about his career, and we talked about how he got into magic and his career as a professional dancer. It's all very, very interesting. It's going to be dropping this week, but I thought I'd give you a sneak peek. Check this out when it comes up, but here's a sneak peek at the Magical Bones interview that's coming up this week on Magic TV. Let me ask you, when you did it, obviously you did remarkably well on BGT. You went all the way through to the final. Was it frustrating that when you did BGT, I mean, obviously one of the reasons you did it is for exposure, going on TV, whatever it may be. And you did it, obviously the final was taking place right in the middle of a global pandemic, and you did incredibly well. Everybody around the whole of the UK is watching you. Everyone's like, oh, Magical Bones is there. Your name was everywhere. And then the show finishes, you've done incredibly well, and you can't perform. You're stuck in your house. You're all the opportunities. I've interviewed Mark Spellman on this YouTube channel, and he said, oh, after I did BGT, the phone was ringing off the hook every single day, and it catapulted my career. And I know it's helped you achieve a lot of success as well, but it was frustrating that you were kind of basically locked down after this incredible exposure.
Yeah, that was one perspective. I mean, I had a few friends, magician friends, who were like, you said that to me. And I think we were all going through that because no one was performing, but it kind of was sort of kind of a blessing and wasn't a blessing, because I got to really work on some other stuff, magic-wise, and some shows that I wouldn't have had the time to develop if I was, constantly had the phone, obviously. And also because everyone was at home, everyone watched, people watched it a lot more. So I don't know, I feel like I would have never known what it would have been like if I wasn't in the pandemic. I only know what it is like now, and I just sort of took it, took the positive out of it. Another reason why I did BGT was I watched Shimshi, who's a Las Vegas magician. Shimshi, he did AGT, and I watched his lecture, his penguin lecture. I'm a big fan of Shimshi, and he's someone who's also inspired me to. He's a great if you want to do corporate magic and stage shows, Shimshi will help you like get your finances up. So I watched that lecture, his penguin lecture, and he talks about AGT, and the whole lecture is like corporate magic is a big Las Vegas magician, and he talks about how why AGT is good, even if it's just for the show reel. So forget about getting the phone call. You have an amazing piece of footage, broadcast quality footage. That's show reel you can use for the rest of your life. Do you know what I mean? For as long as you're in magic, I mean. And it's quality footage because it just says, okay, you don't, it's all good going around the party and getting at a wedding, but Simon Cowell, AGT, BGT, having that as part of your show is massive. You can immediately start improving your earnings and that footage. And so you got to sort of think of not just the immediate calls. You got to think of the longer term picture of how you can use that. And also, if you didn't do as well as you'd like to do, you still get the opportunity to change the narrative, because what Shimshi talks about in that lecture is that like a lot of magicians are like, oh, if I do badly, if I get embarrassed. Yeah, for that one moment, you maybe you only got to the semis, for example, but after a year or two, no one's gonna remember. They don't even remember. People don't even remember who won BGT last year. People don't remember 2 years ago. But when they go on your website and they see, oh, this guy did AGT and he got to the semis, or he did AGT and all the judges said his audition piece was amazing. Yes, and you have that on your show reel. Oh wow. Bookers will immediately think, oh yeah, of course. They don't know whether or not they don't care if you won it. They just see it on your website and they're like, right, great, this guy's good. And that piece of advice from Shimshi, why he recommended it, is probably the reason why I sort of said, right, I'm going to do it this time.
So we're going to finish off today by doing a deck review. Everybody, the feedback that I've got from you guys about these deck reviews is you're finding them super helpful. And to be honest, I went on record years ago as saying, I only use bicycle cards. That's all I use. I only need to use a pack of bikes. Since I've been doing these deck reviews, I've actually been using so many different decks. I think I've changed my tune on this. But this week we're looking at the Jellyfish cards, which are by P3, Penguin Magic. It's a new Penguin Magic deck of cards. They're promoting them quite heavily at the moment. And they're called Jellyfish cards because they actually have a jellyfish right there on the tuck case or on the card box, which is kind of interesting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the camera in a bit closer so you can actually have a look at each individual card, and we'll talk about why this deck's so good, because to be honest, I really like this deck. And come a bit closer and I'll show you why. So let's open up the card box first of all and show you inside. Now, the first thing that I want you to see is the backs of the cards are really, really cool. So the backs of the cards have sort of this jellyfish design on them, as you can see, all the way through. Each card is exactly the same. The cards are quite thin compared to... I've been using the 1914s deck a lot recently. And compared to the 1914s deck, which are quite a thick cardstock, these are quite a thin cardstock. But they're very, very nice. Very, very nice. They handle really well. They spread really well. They farrow brilliantly straight out the box, which is nice. And obviously, you get a couple of card gaffs. So you get a blank-faced card and you get a double-backed card, which is nice. So you get those two cards for any routines that you want to use. Now let's talk about the actual design. So the jokers are jellyfish as well. Nothing too special about the jokers, other than you have a card revelation down there. So you can probably see right at the very bottom, you've got one joker that just has a jellyfish on it. And then you've got another joker that's got a 2 of hearts on it. So you can use that as a card revelation. We'll come back to that in a minute. You then have all of the cards. Now the ace is especially nice. You've got that kind of jellyfish design popping out the ace of spades, which I thought was quite good. Now on the pips of all the other cards, one or two of the pips will have like a jellyfish kind of coming out of it, which is again quite nice. It's kind of like a transparent pip on the card with a jellyfish inside, and that's through all of the cards. So you can see on all of them they're slightly different. The court cards are quite nice. They're very nautical themed. As you can see, it's almost like watching Aquaman or something like that. Very, very nautical. As you can see, the pips continue all the way through, and all of the court cards are very nautical themed. As you can see, there you go. But they're all very, very different as well. You can see they've spent a lot of time and effort kind of putting these together. And again, as I'm spreading through these, I can tell you they spread so well. They handle so nicely. They really are. This is Ryland's favourite deck. So Ryland absolutely loves this deck of cards. It's his new go-to deck. Probably because he likes jellyfish, I don't know. But they shuffle really nicely. They farrow really nicely. They spring really nicely. But yeah, so you've got these jokers. So you could, for example, just off the top of my head, you could have the two on top, have them say stop, and obviously just force the two, let them see it, and then say that you're going to cut to their card, do some sort of false cut, and you get the jellyfish. And you go, well, is that your card? And they say no. And you say, well, have a look down in that area. And then just do some sort of colour change. Do it really badly like I just did. Do something like an Erdnase change. And you can make that two appear right there in the Joker. So it's nice that they've given you a couple of gaffs to be able to do stuff with. But it handles really, really nicely.
So there you go. That is the Jellyfish deck. Now these are available exclusively through Penguin Magic and any shops that Penguin Magic distribute to. So I believe that Prop Dog are carrying them. I imagine Alakazam are carrying them, and I'm sure there's a few other dealers that are carrying them as well. But Penguin Magic is the place that you want to get them. And yeah, I can recommend them. Like, it just depends. I mean, obviously, they're more expensive than a normal bicycle deck. So it's not going to be the deck that you take to a gig, you rip to bits, you do Mercury card folds, you destroy it, and then you throw it in the bin as you're leaving the gig. That's not where you're going to be using this. But if you want to, I've always said to people, if you like do mem deck magic, for example, and this deck is perfect for that sort of thing. It's really nice, highly recommended. It's a lovely deck. It handles really well. Buy it. So there you go, guys. That's another 5x5 in the bag. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. What did you think of the whole pregnancy video? Like, I literally had like 20 minutes to put that together, so that was the best that I could come up with. But to be honest, I think it worked, and I think it's something that kind of has legs and can be expanded on with a kind of future presentation. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And more importantly, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and do me a favor, follow me on Instagram. I'm putting live performance footage up on Instagram all the time, so if you're not following me on Instagram, go and do that right now. The link is down below, and I will see you again tomorrow on Tuesday with a shorts at 2 o'clock, at 6 o'clock a live, and at 9 o'clock a Talk Magic. I'll see you then. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.